play a Night Lord Siege Force, knock yourself out. Any word bearers in that book, guys? There are word bearers in that book.
Had to be somewhere, didn't there?
There are, yeah.
They always sneak in there.
They do, and that detachment that is really focused on the one from the Index really leans into their kind of pacts with the different Chaos Gods and the different marks. So that one's a great way to represent your word bearers. So that one's a great way to represent your word bearers.
Let's just back it up a moment.
And that detachment that is really focused on the one from the Index.
Wow, that does not sound right.
Really leans into their kind of pacts with the different Chaos Gods and the different marks.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Really leans into their kind of pacts with the different Chaos Gods and the different marks.
No! God, please, no! No!
So that one's a great way to represent your word bearers.
Meaning?
The one from the Index really leans into their kind of pacts with the different Chaos Gods and the different marks. So that one's a great way to represent your word bearers.
I don't think so.
Welcome back to the 21.9 thousand Grimdark enjoyers of my channel. It seems 10th edition isn't breaking the pattern of cursed Chaos Space Marine codices. 8th had its largely daft mechanics and the one wound Marine problem. 9th had the issue of lacking a crucial Chaos Lord variant, along with a few handful of other design fumbles. And with the 10th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex bringing back Chaos Lords with jump packs, and with dark packs being vastly superior over wontons, you'd think things would be better. And you know what? It kinda seems to be the case. Unless you're a collector of the word bearers who was hoping the Chaos Space Marines Codex would provide a detachment which paid even some respect to the first heretics. In case it isn't clear, my position is that the 10th edition Chaos Space Marine Codex utterly fails in serving the word bearers.
Again, it's like poetry, so if they rhyme.
And yes, it's a topic I get quite animated about, because it breaks the #1 principle I hold for tabletop rules management, that being to respect the hobby efforts of the players and fans who have bought in, whose efforts realize the factions of the IP. I should mention, for the other legions out there, I'd say you seem to be fairly well served. I like the Iron Warriors, Black Legion, and Night Lords detachments, and I particularly like the Alpha Legion one, as it has several back-end tools which surprised me with how thematic and creative they were in their design. But from a word bearer's purest point of view, this codex utterly fails the first heretics, and in this video, I'll go into why exactly that is.
This is where the fun begins.
It never was a word bearer's detachment. So putting aside what the rules writers would have you believe with the rebrand, the Slaves to Darkness Index detachment was never truly a detachment for the word bearers. And there are several points of reference which outline this to be true. The first to consider is, what's in a name? Slaves to Darkness. The name of the Index detachment is a term which has historically been used to apply to Chaos Space Marines broadly. In 9th edition, it was used as a rules term for integrating the 4 God-marked Cult Marines into any Chaos Space Marine Legion. And in 8th edition, it was used as a section title for the Chaos Space Marines Army rules. But maybe that isn't persuasive. It is just a name after all. Maybe you still think the Slaves to Darkness detachment is very word bearers.
So that one's a great way to represent.
Liar!
People see a detachment rule leaning into dark packs with marks of chaos and conflate that it's appropriate for the word bearers. But it's only as appropriate for them as it is for every other Chaos Legion or Renegade Warband because it's just that generic. I actually had a discussion with a buddy on this topic, which I think illustrates this point perfectly. And so I invite you to walk through it with me. Pact-bound Zealots is the basic generic Chaos detachment.
I'd argue the Veterans detachment is the generic.
I'm inclined to disagree, but I haven't seen. Can you share?
Yeah, it's the Black Legion detachment.
Seeing the first page is all the confirmation I need. The Black Legion detachment is far more Black Legion than the Word Bearers detachment is Word Bearers.
Yeah, but that's more generic. CSM, Black Legion is literally the poster child for generic.
It seems to me, the Black Legion detachment has a clear generic Space Marine bend, which compared to the Word Bearers detachment is much more unique. Their enhancements are literally the generic relics available to all Chaos Space Marine legions from the previous 2 editions. What about Talisman of Burning Blood, Intoxicating Elixir, or Festering Miasma is word bearers? The answer is nothing. Even with just a cursory comparison, it becomes evident. The same is true for its stratagem set, featuring one for each mark, just like the shared stratagem set available to all Chaos Space Marine armies in 8th and 9th edition. And while the one mechanical change Pact-Bound Zealots brings is technically more in line with the word bearers, or at least more so than an overcosted Armor of Contempt, Eye of the Gods fits right in with the aforementioned template, serving as the spiritual matched play successor to Chaos Boon. What we don't see here are the word bearers' stratagems, relics, or traits from 8th or 9th edition. Not an Exalted Possession, or Apostle of the Dark Council, or a hexagrammic ward to be seen. Continuing on, we can also see the detachment rule itself isn't an ideal fit for the word bearers either, and this is because...
Oh, hi, Mark.
Marks of Chaos, an ill-suited detachment rule. The word bearers are known as the First Heretics. Unlike the World Eaters, Thousand Sons, Death Guard, and Emperor's Children, which all have a henotheistic faith, and unlike the other legions, which worship the Pantheon in different capacities, often in relation to the pursuit of power, the word bearers worship the Pantheon in a holistic sense, and do so from a position of service. This is why the word bearers' worship has always been shown to take the form of the Mark of Chaos Undivided. Now we can consider that the Pact-Bound Zealots detachment does allow you to assign units with a Mark of Chaos Undivided, but it should be plainly obvious that marking your whole army as undivided in this detachment would be both to your detriment and against the intentions of the design system. So where does that leave us? Well, it leaves us here. To just slap a rename on a detachment that is clearly a generic toolkit and try to imply it was for word bearers all along is honestly off-putting. It's like putting lipstick on a pig. And it seems Warhammer community knew this as well, hence why the rebrand was glossed over in a few sentences. Sentences which couch the detachment's value as giving performance boosters and flexibility. Something for those who, fuck me, don't know what to do? Hey GW.
Do you think that I'm retarded?
Word bearers players know what they want to do, and I can't speak for everyone, but if I had to guess, word bearers players want to use a detachment featuring the bespoke mechanics associated with the word bearers themes, in the same way you did for every other Chaos Space Marine Legion. Instead, what are we left with? Carrying water for the Slaves to Darkness detachment. Way to add a sense of reward for those who bought in. Pact-Bound Zealots leaves the word bearers with a detachment full of generic shared Chaos Space Marine mechanics, evocative of the design philosophy from 8th and 9th edition. It doesn't offer any word bearer specific stratagems or enhancements. It doesn't offer any mechanics for demons or possessed for the Legion which were the first heretics. The Legion which were the first to have possessed. No mechanics for having better than average Dark Apostles or extra zealous cultists. It doesn't provide mechanics which encourage undivided worship either. And while Pact-Bound Zealots is the only detachment which allows you to mark your units undivided, it is by that same hand the only detachment which actively encourages your word bearers from being marked undivided. Because just like last edition, there is no benefit for fielding an army wholly dedicated to a single mark.
Wow, what a totally amazing, excellent discovery. Not!
And that's why the 10th edition Codex utterly fails the word bearers.
Surely you can do better.
WhatTheFaq. Regrettably, this has become something of a tradition. It seems with every Chaos Space Marine Codex, I end up putting together a WhatTheFaq. This time it's just a house rule detachment pack I threw together for what I would have liked to have seen for the word bearers. I'll spare you the details, but here's the gist of it. A detachment rule which gives all units a 6-up feel no pain and a +1 to leadership tests. There are 4 enhancements which cover what I believe were some of the more iconic upgrades. And on the stratagem front, there is the standard amount of 6. A link to the latest version of these docs is in the description. Feel free to give it a gander. I'm open to input as I would like to make this house rule detachment as tasteful as possible. Feel free to let me know what you think. and I'll update it from here. And who knows, it may just end up spawning a thematic battle report. Well, that's a wrap on this one. If you enjoyed this video, there are buttons for liking, sharing, and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and a special thanks to Julius Maximus, as well as my other generous patrons and channel members. Recently I've started doing hobby live streams, so if chill hobby jams are your thing, join in and let's get those projects done. Anyways, thanks again for watching, and I'll catch ya in the next one.